Namaskar, my dear friends. How are you? I hope you're good. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for your likes, your views, suggestions, and feedbacks right on the introduction video. I'm really happy to have received them. Thank you so much. Secondly, to all the beautiful and gorgeous mommies, wish you a very, very happy Mother's Day. I think this is a pure coincidence that I did the book launch for FaceIT on my mother's birthday, and here I am posting the first chapter from the book on the Mother's Day itself. Uh, I think this probably would be just a coincidence. Uh, that apart, it gives me immense pleasure to share with you that with me I am going to have few of my friends join for narration of the different chapters that we have as part of FaceIT. So first amongst them is Subod. Subod and me work for the same organization, and as far as I know Subod, he's one of the finest actors that I know in my friend circle. I have seen him doing different roles and he is seriously too good at it. So when I asked him, Subodh, would you read a few chapters from my book? He was like, yes, why not? So he said, can I start with the first chapter itself? I was like, yes. I was just simply very happy to have received that acceptance from him. So let's hear the first chapter from him. Thank you so much, Subodh, for accepting my request, and over to you. Thank you so much. Thanks again.
Hi everyone. Thank you Smita for having me on your channel to be able to read this book, Face It. Although I've read this book before, but it's a pleasure to be able to read it again for all our viewers. So let's get started. So I'll start with chapter 1, which begins with a quote from Howard Schultz, who was the chairman for Starbucks. Hiring people is an art, not a science, and resumes can't tell whether someone will fit in the culture. She was fair, zero-figured, stylish and had a cute face. At the reception, she said, "My name is Sneha and I have come for an interview." "Please have a seat," said the receptionist as she was doing something. Sneha sat on the sofa in the reception area next to a few other girls. Two girls out of the group murmured against them. Girl 1 said, "She should put on some weight. She looks like a victim of malnutrition." Girl 2 said, "Well, she is smart and has good communication skills. See, all the boys are looking at her." Sneha looked at them as she could spy hear what was going on. She passed them annoyed looks and dropped her head back on her mobile screen, pushing them and creating some more space for her on the sofa. The sofa was donated by the general manager's wife. Every festive season, his wife would change the interiors of her house and the office reception would get a new sofa. Of course, it's a workplace, not a dump yard. Recycling is good anyways. This happens in smaller organizations. In bigger organizations, such as MNCs, everything needs a purchase order and it has to be state of the art. The reception area was small and no internal operations can be traced from here. All the freshers kept looking at the doors which opened into the floor area. Whenever somebody swiped the card, the machine made a typical noise and everybody tried to peep in. While everybody was busy peeping in, the recruiter leading the hiring drive walked in. He escorted all the freshers to a bigger training room called Chameli, which was at the far end of the office. As they all were walking through the passage, they realized that all the conference rooms were named on flowers. Conference rooms are supposed to be a place where meetings, trainings, and conferences are arranged, but they could be used for mass conspiracy as well. "We have all the conference rooms on one side of the floor and bays on the other side," informed the recruiter to the freshers. Somebody from the group asked the recruiter, "Sorry, but what is a bay?" The recruiter quite enthusiastically replied, "Bays are narrowed down office spaces or shared office spaces. The bay consists of cubicles. Cubicle is an individual's workplace. The cubicles are built in such a way that the person sitting inside can concentrate on work and has enough privacy." All the eyes were rolling on the nameplates, the stylish monitors, and personalized workspaces. The common areas had big sofas and interesting concepts. The walls had pictures of products the company manufactured, some of the team pictures, and some motivational quotes. To freshers, everything was amazing as it looked spick and span. Everybody was feeling cozy with that centralized air conditioner blowing, maintained at the right temperature. No heat and no dust. Those who wish to use the washrooms, please do so now as we get started with the written exams in another 10 minutes, said the recruiter. All of them paraded to the work floor, trying to locate the restrooms until one of the team members from the recruiting team directed them. Since it was the beginning of the day, the entire office was empty. Few early birds were there on their seats though. They were watching and remembering their days as freshers. As soon as they spotted Sneha with the recruiter, they kept staring at Sneha with their dropping jaws. All the freshers settled in the training room. Soon, the recruiters handed the question papers to all of them. Further, the recruiter informed the freshers that there was a common question paper for all of the streams. Every September-October time frame, most of the organizations hire some freshers who are basically fresh graduates from college. They hire freshers for fresh ideas, some fresh energy in the team since freshers can work the most. Moreover, freshers are like sponge. They can soak more as compared to an experienced person and are easy to mold. People inside the organization look at freshers for clean and clear faces as it gets one out of the mundane. As soon as the exam was done, the batch was asked to move in an open common area. This place had a huge sofa with a huge TV set and some books in shelves nailed to the wall. Sneha was seesawing from one corner to the other as she was talking on phone with somebody. All the men in the office were gazing at her as nobody in the office would ever dress the way she had on her interview day. She was wearing a black short skirt, Levi's as everyone could read it because it was low waist, and a pink color top. The one slightly older in the industry would not have dared to wear that kind of attire on the very first day of interview, in spite of the fact that nobody belonged to Chanakya's era. It was not just her. Almost all the freshers were wearing all colors red, yellow, fluorescent green, which otherwise nobody in the office would wear. That is what made the office vibrant on the hiring day. They had worn all kind of funky clothes as they all seemed to be highly inspired by their Bollywood favorites. Sneha was inspired by the youngest actress in Bollywood. Besides, she carried an Apple iPhone. Everybody was wondering how could she, or for that matter anyone who had just come out of college, afford to have an iPhone. It is an expensive phone for college pass outs. It is supposedly flaunted by higher designation bosses. Maybe it is the generation gap that is making them embellish it. Normally, the scene that makes an appearance in case of fresher interviews is nervous faces, people with a lot of books and notes around, some chanting beads, and some visiting these restrooms frequently. However, this batch was slightly different as everyone was busy with their digital devices. Sneha too was playing some games on her handset while others were constantly chatting. It was apparent from the WhatsApp audible key tones. All of them had missed reading the warning, keep your mobile phones on silent while on workflow, which is why an official from the floor reminded them. Later, the recruiter walked out of the conference room to announce the name of the selected candidates. Sadly, only 6 were selected out of a batch of 60 people. Do you think Sneha was selected?